Good morning, everyone. It's Kate Kaltoff, and welcome to some summer stamping. We are going to do a stamp and chat with Kay and use the By the Dock bundle, which you can find in our mini catalog, which goes from January through June 2nd. And it's a great summer card, so if you like making cards celebrating summer, By the Dock is got your name on it. Good morning. Oh, good. We have some watchers. Hello. Oh, you're already sharing. I so appreciate it. In fact, the card that I have pictured that we've been sharing around and I've been talking about, in fact, I had it on Instagram, I had it on my Facebook page, and I know some of you have already shared it. We're making that card, but we are going to add an embellishment. It's one of those things where I've been kind of in a rush to come up with some ideas, and so this was a card that I did in a little bit of a rush, and it didn't even occur to me that I didn't put an embellishment on it. I mean, it looks really good, embellishment free, but I'm going to show you how we can up the game with just a little added embellishment that will make a big difference. So just hang around and check all that out. Good morning. Hello. Oh, yes, I love it that you guys are sharing already. Jean always shares 3 times. Thank you, Jean. So many of you. Welcome. Oh, I love it. And you know what? Making masculine cards is so much fun. So this can truly work as a masculine card. We have Father's Day coming up. We always have birthdays for the guys, right? And I have so many of my customers tell me they always feel like they don't know how to make masculine birthday cards because they're always, you know, oh, the flowers. I'm as guilty as anybody else. I love flowers. I see a flower stamp set and I want it. Doesn't matter if I have 9 billion other flower stamp sets, I still want another one. Oh, goodness. But this one I had to get this stamp set, By the Dock. Well, hello, I live in Minnesota, land of 10,000 lakes. I've seen this scene a million times. And the reason I'm not separating the skyline from the lake is because in Minnesota, when you if you wake up as early as I do, and I wake up early, you rarely can see the difference between the sky and the lake. It's all one. Whether you're in Duluth looking out over Lake Superior or whether you're just right here, on your favorite fishing lake, when you get up early and get out in the boat, it's all a haze and you can't see the difference between the sky and the lake. And that's one of the things I love about Minnesota. There's always that early morning haze. And so that's kind of what I was depicting in this card. Hello. Oh, good. So many of you signing on. Great. You're going to love this card. And actually, it's a little bit, it's got quite a bit of work with a die cutting machine, and so you almost need a die cutting machine with this card. I mean, you can fussy cut this, don't get me wrong, you certainly can, but I don't know, I just think that, you know, well, stay tuned. If you haven't already received your Stampin' Up! Catalog, you know good things are on the way. It isn't available yet, but there will be a new Stampin' Up! Stamp & Cut die cutting and embossing machine that we'll be able to promote to you really soon, and I just cannot wait. There's a mini size and a big size, so it's going to be great. So if you're a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you've already seen the good news that we got on our update this morning. And if you're not a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you probably want to be, because the good news is actually about you. Yes, if you're a customer and you're thinking about joining Stampin' Up!, I can't encourage you enough to start on June 3rd, the first day of our new catalog debut, because there's going to be a new recruiting promotion just for brand new demonstrators to Stampin' Up!, and you will get to pick a bundle of your choice out of the new catalog, which is pretty exciting news. Because you can either do a punch bundle or you can do a die bundle, and it doesn't matter the price. So if you have kind of an expensive bundle on your wish list already, oh my gosh, get it for free. Join up, be a discount happy shopper with Stampin' Up! Or, you know, if you think that maybe now is the time to have a side gig in your life, I can certainly tell you how to do that, because Stampin' Up! Has been my side gig for a long time. So be sure that you stay tuned to my Stampin' Up! Email that I'll be sending out later today. I'm going to be talking about product shares. Basically, I'm doing one product share, and it's going to be a paper share. With COVID-19, there's so many issues with getting supplies from the factories. A lot of them are overseas. A lot of them are not to full capacity yet. And so embellishments and the little trinkets and things like that, we just can't count on those. The ribbons, we really can't count on those being in stock for very long. So I'm not going to worry about that. We're just going to focus on paper. There's so much wonderful good paper in the new catalog. So I'm very excited about that, and I just am working out the final details now for the paper share that I'll be announcing today, along with that very special recruiting and promotion for brand new demonstrators. So I hope if you're my customer, you'll think about joining my group. We have an awesome group. They're called Creative Crafters Stamping to Share, and we all are so together. And we are all so on board. We stay in touch with each other through our Facebook group, and it's just fun. And we have every kind of demonstrator. We have people who order just once every 3 months and just the very minimum order to stay active. And we also have people who hold classes and events with their customers. So it takes a whole range of people in our group, and we support everybody. All right, exciting. So many of you are joining. Thank you. Well, let me show you the card we're sort of making. Because as I mentioned, the one that we actually do on the Facebook Live is going to look a little different. So it looks like this. And it's really, really pretty. And the inside is also decorated. Let me show it to you. Doesn't that look cool? I love how the inside is also decorated. That's kind of one of my trademarks. I rarely send a card that doesn't have a little bit of something on the inside. Unless I'm doing demonstrator cards, sometimes when I send out make and takes that we do from our meeting, I don't actually put anything on the inside because, I mean, I know you can customize those yourself. All right, so now I'm going to share with you what I got in my mailbox this last few days. So the first one is from, actually both of these are from downline members. Yes, we have the most generous, kind, caring downline members ever in our Creative Crafters group. And this one is, she actually wrote me a really nice letter. So this is from Grace Ball Fans, and she was telling me that she is so excited now to play with the woven heirloom stamp set because I focused on it for quite a few Facebook Lives in May. It's one of my favorite stamp sets, and of course, you know, I love it. And I also really, really love the dies and the embossing folders that go with it, which are being discontinued, so you can only get those for another week or so. But the stamp set is staying on, so I've been using it a lot. And I want to share with you a card that she made using the woven heirloom stamp set. She also used this really wonderful trim. Of course, I cannot remember the name of it. I don't even think I've really even used it once this year. But Grace uses it, and it's beautiful. So let me show you the card Grace made for me. Isn't it lovely? Again, uses the woven heirloom stamp set. Hopefully I have this, you know, everything is so delayed on the computer, I can't tell if it's in the photo or not, but here it is. So incredibly gorgeous. Oh yes, you guys must be seeing it. I see lots of hearts. And she also uses that designer series paper that will also be discontinuing. I think it's called Woven Threads. Okay, so we'll put that one down. So beautiful. Thank you, Grace. I love it. You know, I'm going to hold it back up one more time because there's so much fun bling on this. And I want you to notice the bling. Look at how cool that is. I love that she was so generous with the bling. And she does contrasting colors. So often I do everything matchy-matchy. And I love the contrast of the pretty peacock on here. So fun. All right, and then my next card that I got from a downline member, which is just so cool. And don't ask me how to do it. I will tell you right now, I don't do fancy cards. I don't do lots of fancy folds. You guys know that. It's just not my thing. However, I have an incredibly talented downline group that do a lot of that. So this is from one of my downline members named Dawn Chase. And she actually has 3 downline members under her. So she is a great team leader in our group. And this is what she made for me, and I want to share it with you. She said she cased the card from Pinterest, just as an FYI. I don't even know what stamp set it uses, but it's a wedding card. So I'm going to share it with you, and it looks like this. So the front doesn't really give away the fact that it's a fancy fun fold. But let me just open it up for you, because this is one of those cards that's just beautiful, goes on and on. So this is for the new Mr. and Mrs. And when you open it up, I'll sit back so you can see it. It looks like this. So the middle section, I can't read it. I'll hold it up close so you can read it. So there's the middle section. And here's the bottom section. Then I'll show it to you what it looks like on the side. So it's kind of like this. I'm sure I could figure it out, but again, these are not really my forte, just an FYI. I don't do hard cards. All right, but at least I have downline members that do. So very pretty. Thank you so very much, Dawn. You really are a treasure, and it's fun to have these cards on display in my studio so people can know that there's a lot more potential than just simple, which is mostly what I do. All right, so I'm gonna turn the camera down, and I'm gonna have you look at this card again that we're going to make today. All right, let me give the camera a couple minutes, or not a couple minutes, a couple seconds to catch up so I can make sure that everything is looking the way it's supposed to look. And it looks pretty good. So again, this is the card we're going to make. The one we're making today is going to have a slightly different embellishment on it. Actually, there's no embellishments on this. So the one we're making today actually will have an embellishment on it. And that will be my giveaway. So stay tuned to see what that all is. So we'll do our giveaway on Thursday. And the way you get into the drawing is to go ahead and share this on your timeline. Let me know that you've shared. Or you can make comments. So just let me know where you're watching from. If you have the Buy the Doc bundle, if it's on your wish list, or what your weather's like, or whatever you want to talk about. It's all good. Okay, so here is the stamp set. This is actually carrying over into the new catalog. And only between now and June 2nd will you be able to get the bundle at a 10% savings. And the bundle includes the dies that go with it. So these are all the stamps, and then this is all the dies. And the dies even have little extras. Like, I just want to point out, not everything is matchy to the stamp set. So you have these really awesome oars in a couple of different sizes. And then you have one that actually coordinates with one of the stamps. But you have two others just that you can use as accents on your cards. You have this wonderful kind of marsh grass here with the cattail. You have a couple of little froggies, one that coordinates with the froggy here, and then one that's just a leaping frog, so he'd be cute back in these rushes. You have a little bird cut out, so there's a lot. The only ones I'm using on this particular card is the boat and the dock, and then this weird looking thing is also another one that I used, and that is to cut out your beach. So on the inside of the card you can see that I have a beach cut out, so I also have that ready. All right, and then in addition to that, we have a couple of suns. So you'll notice there's a sun on the outside and a sun on the inside that says happy birthday, and for that we're using our layering circles. And we're going to use two sizes of layering circles. We're going to use the smallest one and not the largest. We're using the smallest one and the next one up from the smallest one. So we'll put the smallest one on the outside of the card, and we'll put the next one up on the inside of the card with our sentiment. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this card. Boy, I hope I prepped enough. I'm a little nervous here. What did I all do? Yeah, because we've been out of town, obviously, with Memorial Day weekend. Oh yeah, so there's that. Just looking to see what I've got available here. Okay, so I did do a good job prepping. I was a little nervous. And I got this ready last week and wasn't sure just how ready I was. All right, so here is what we're going to start with. So we have our first layer. which is our card base. And this is Pacific Point. It's 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2, folded in half. And the reason I make 2 cards on every Facebook Live is I do a giveaway. So these 2 cards will be given away on Thursday when I do the drawing. So here they are. So you know the measurements now for that. I'm going to set that aside for a minute because the next thing I want to share with you is a little bit of stamping that we need to do. So we have some balmy blue here, and it's 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So that's going to be this section right here. Actually, do I want to stamp that? Yes, I want to stamp that next. So that's, again, 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. Then what I did is I just cut out, let me get it here. I just cut out a blank because this is my template that I'm using, so I know where I want to stamp the boat. So if you notice on the boat there are these little kind of waves that go away from the boat, and I need to know about where to stamp that on my card so that when I do the boat cutout and do the dock cutout, it's going to go where I want it to go on my card. So let me grab my ink here. So I'm going to actually stamp this boat in blue, but it's going to be covered up. So the boat will be mostly covered up because you won't be able to see anything but the little waves. But I think the waves are an important part, so we need to get that onto our panel here. So how do we do that? We're going to do something kind of like masking. So what you want to do is you want to start by putting your blank dock, in other words, an unstamped image of your dock down, kind of just going off to a 45-degree angle. What I kind of look at is I want to make sure that it's going straight up and down because you want your dock to look, I don't know what you would say, you don't want it to look too kilty corner. And I want about this much showing from the edge of this pole to the edge of my paper here to have it look just right. Then I've got the Pacific Point ink pad here, and I'm just going to ink up this boat. And really, again, all we're after are these wave lines. So we're going to set this in, and you just want to sort of line up the side of the boat with the side of the dock. And you're going to stamp. And there it is. And that's why we needed to put our dock right here so we would have that boat lined up. So now we have our waves because that's what we were after. So we're going to do the exact same thing on this next piece of paper because, as usual, I am making 2 cards. So we can probably stamp this one a little quicker because now you know how that all lines up. There we go. All right, so we have our waves. Then we can just go ahead and put in some additional waves. So I'm going to take my waves, and again, we're using Pacific Point ink, and we can just try to stamp those horizontally in, oh, you know what, I do need a scrap paper here because we are going to stamp off on this. So you just want to kind of put this a little horizontally, just get some water things here. Just like so. So just a few, maybe one more here. There we go. So we're going to do the same thing now for this one. Just, you know, just make it look like a summer day. And maybe over here, and then one here. Whoops, that one didn't really show up. We'll put a little bit more. There we go. So this is what your little waves look like. No big deal, really easy so far, right? Then we have our boat stamp, but he has blue ink on, so that's not good because we want to next make a boat with brown ink. So let me go ahead and I'm going to grab my simple chamois, which I've cut in half, and then I store it in one of these half mount wood cases. Very handy. And I actually have 3 halves in here. And what that allows me to do is when I'm in a big stamping session and one of them gets really inked up, I can just flip it over or add a different one to the top. So I'm always kind of rotating those out. So we have this all cleaned up, and now it's ready to go to stamp our next image. So we're going to take Early Espresso ink, and we're going to ink up this boat, and we have a scrap. This is a scrap of Sahara sandpaper. So I'm going to stamp 2 boat images. And then what you want to do is, after that's had a little chance to dry, you want to go ahead and cut that out with the coordinating dies. I did that in advance. I'm just going to pull these 2 little boats out. They're right here, and there they are. So we're going to now attach these boats to our image right here. So what we needed to do next is we need a dock. So again, you're going to use this piece of scrap, but this time it's crumb cake. So we're going to take our crumb cake scrap, we're going to take our Early Espresso ink, and we're going to take this dock image, we're going to ink it up, and we're going to stamp 2 dock images on this scrap of paper. Just like so. And then again, you're going to take this to your die cutting machine and die cut those out with the dock. So I did that in advance. You're happy to know, I'm sure. So let me pull these pieces out. And they look like this once they've all been cut out, and it looks great. Very quick and easy when you do it in advance, right? All right, so here we have our pieces. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set these pieces right here, and I'm going to put those on with dimensionals. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm just going to get both of these ready at the same time, and then I can look at your comments while I'm putting dimensionals on, maybe. Oh, good. We have lots of watchers. Thank you. Oh, you're from all over. We have people here from Minnesota. Well, you can relate to a card like this. And then we have people all over, and I know there's lakes all over the United States, so all of you probably have a lot of memories of having a boat out on the dock, and maybe with your dad or your grandpa, and going fishing. And look at that, I've got ink on my hands, so let me take care of that. So again, if you ever have ink on your hands and you're a little concerned, just wipe it off on your simple chamois. That's what I do. And I don't think it's going to come, I think it's good. It looks like it hasn't come off. Blue is really staining this Pacific Point, but it's not going to get onto my paper. So when that happens, just wipe it off and you're good to go. So now we have a couple of this little tiny bird up here. So I'm going to put dimensionals on that bird, but I want to use the mini dimensionals from Stampin' Up. I really like the mini dimensionals, because it used to be we had to cut our dimensionals in half. Oh yeah, that was kind of a pain. So it was nice when Stampin' Up came out with the minis, and then we don't have to do that anymore. The minis are kind of problematic to work with if you have big fingers like I do. My daughters, well, especially my last daughter, she has little fingers, so she can just do all kinds of little things with her fingers. But I use a tool called a Take Your Pick tool. Really helps me pick up things that I can't pick up very well. Then you can even use your Take Your Pick tool to peel off that little peely for those minis, because they're stuck on pretty tight. There we go. And then for the other peelies, it's pretty easy. I can peel those off pretty quickly with my fingernails. So off we go with the peelies. I'm not worried about the other little pieces of the dock. I just want to make sure that the bird stands out. So we'll go ahead, and then we'll put this dock on, and then once the dock is on, we can put the boats on. If I can get these up. There we go. All right, so I'm going to flip this over, and we're going to put this just a little bit away from the boat, so that we have a little bit of space between the boat and the dock. It just looks nicer. And we'll set this in like so. And we're going to do the exact same thing to our other image. We'll set this in. There we go. Then we're going to put dimensionals onto our boat image, which should be pretty fast because there's nothing fussy about that. Just one at each end of the boat should work great. And then we're going to set our boat image right here over the top. So we kind of are masking out, but you can still see the waves from the boat. We'll just snug that up. So you want the top of the boat to be connected to this rope, and then there we go. And we're going to do the exact same thing for this one. So that's how you can just kind of mask out an image and then set your boat image right on there. Set that on there right there. Perfect. All right, so we have our images done, and now what we want to do is we want to enhance the images. So to do that, I'm going to bring my early espresso ink back into the picture, and this only takes seconds, so don't worry, I won't be coloring for very long. Oh my gosh, you guys, what is my problem today? Look at this. My fingers are just getting so inky. I normally can go I sometimes can stamp for hours without getting ink on my fingers. And that is not the case today. Oh my gosh. All right, again, just use your simple chamois and get that ink off and you're ready to roll. All right, so as you noticed, I pressed some ink into the roof of the ink pad, into the top lid. Good grief. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the blending pens from Stampin' Up, and I'm going to pick up some ink, and I don't want it to be super dark, so I'm just kind of blending it out a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, and wherever I see kind of hash marks on the Stampin' Up images, is I just go ahead and I'm just going to kind of highlight those. So I'm gonna kind of line the whole top of the boat and the back. So I'm just going to go over the top line of the boat, and then I'm just going to accentuate those hash marks just to give the boat a little bit of depth as you're looking at it, so it doesn't look so flat. That's one of the nice things about blender pens and just using a little bit of ink, is it really accentuates things. So just wherever you want a little bit of depth, go ahead and use your blender pen. And then Stampin' Up always puts little clues where you should be coloring. So I will also color the dock just a little bit wherever there's a lot of hash marks, and it just adds a lot of nice depth to your image. And we're almost there. Just a little bit more through here and here. So you can see the difference between this one and this one. So again, we're just gonna go ahead and add a little bit of depth. And it really doesn't take very long. And it's lots of fun. It's very relaxing. I have lots of my downline tell me that they really enjoy fussy cutting and coloring, even while they're watching a movie or something. Oh, watching movies, that reminds me. Do you guys know what movie I watched this weekend? I watched, for the first time ever, the Titanic. Oh, and I'm even making a boat card. How appropriate is that? Although this is a very tiny boat compared to the Titanic. I had never seen the Titanic. I always thought, well, I don't need to see that because I know how it ends, and it's not good. So I don't like scary movies, so I was always just really afraid to watch the Titanic because I thought it was going to be so scary. And so I didn't want to watch it. And then this weekend, it was on CBS, and you probably saw that. And so I watched it on Sunday. Oh my gosh, it's a 3-hour movie. I don't think I've watched a 3-hour movie in years. But wow, it was really good. I'm so glad I finally saw it after all these years. It was really, really good. So lots of fun. And let's hope this boat does not sink. it looks a little less water steady than like the Titanic looked when that one took off, but as you know, not a good ending for the Titanic. All right, but the love story was awesome. Okay, so here we go. We have everything kind of ready here. Now I mentioned that we're going to add a little something to this card to make it a little more special. And this will also be the giveaway when I do the drawing on Thursday. So we're going to add some twine. So I'm just going to add 2 little bits of twine to each of these cards. So I'm just going to add it in the corner, and it's going to make a big difference. You just watch and see. So we're going to take this. And you know what? I think I'm going to not add it quite yet. I'm going to add it after I get my back panel on. So let me go ahead and add the back panel. So here's the back panel. It's crushed curry. It's just going to outline a little brightness to your card. So it's 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. What we're going for is a 1/8 inch border. And to put that on, I'm going to use multi-purpose liquid glue so that I can just wiggle it into place. I really like wiggling things into place, especially when it's such a tiny border. So again, multi-purpose liquid glue on both of the blue panels. Then we can set this in, get that just perfectly wiggled into place so we have this perfect little border all the way around. We're going to do the same thing to this card. Oh my goodness, doesn't that look nice? I love it. Then let's get our sun in here too. So as you may remember, if I can pick it up here, we are having 2 suns on this card, one for the inside, one for the outside. One is just a little bit bigger. We're going to stamp our sentiment in that. So we're going to take our, what is this called? The Pacific Point and our birthday image, or our birthday sentiment. We're going to stamp that in both of these suns. And I want to get that done now so that it has a chance to dry before I start working with it. So we're going to set that aside. So that's the sun that's just a little bit bigger. Then we're going to take these 2 suns and we're going to put dimensionals on them and pop them up onto our card. And then we'll go ahead and we'll wrap our twine. So we'll set this right here, just up here in the upper right. And this one, the same spot right up here. Whoops, I need to move it over just a hair. There we go. There. Oh goodness, we're almost done with this. So then we're going to take this. And I think, you know what? I think it looks too cluttered to put it up here in the corner. So we're just going to go with one down here. So we're going to put that on with a little Scotch tape. Just wrap it around. And we'll do that on both of these cards. And then I think we'll do a tie-on since we already have those little extras cut. So there's one. And then we can just do a tie-on. So take another little strand here. And this is going to work great with this card because these it's kind of like a little ropey material. I think it's called braided linen trim or something like that. But that will be the giveaway on Thursday. So then just go ahead and trim that up. Trim this one a little bit more. And you have just the littlest bit of interest down here. Now, for some reason, it's not wanting to lie flat. So to fix that, if you ever have that problem, take your pick tool, grab a glue dot. We're just going to set that underneath that knot. Press that down and ta-da! Perfect. Works well. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. Sometimes those knots just lie so nice and flat and they work great, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they need a little help with the mini glue dot. So again, we're just going to wrap your twine around that one corner, and it just adds a little extra. These will be my giveaway cards, and it's got that little bit extra than what my original cards did. Yeah, it looks like this one wants to be a little bit fussy too. So, oh no, it wants to go this way. Sometimes you just have to let twine do its thing. Although I don't want it to do that. Oh, I like this look. Oh yeah, and you know what else you can do? You can fray these, so we'll fray this one. Look at how cool that looks. Looks very vintage. And again, I want this knot to lie kind of flat and stay behaved. So we're gonna, again, grab a little mini glue dot and we're gonna tuck that under the knot. And now it won't go anywhere. Okay, I'm gonna hold this up to the camera so you can see the frayed look. Doesn't that look cool? So I think I like the frayed look so much. I'm gonna fray this one too. So all I do is I kind of pull that apart on each end. And there we have more of a frayed look, which is so awesome. That is just a really cool thing that you can do with that braided linen. What is it called? Let me just look at the actual name. Braided linen trim. So that's kind of a cool option for you. All right, so now what do I need to do next? Am I done? I think I'm done. So we're gonna flip these over, add dimensionals. Don't worry, we'll get to the inside of the card here in a second, but let's just complete everything on the outside as long as we're almost there. And it clears up a lot of stuff on my desk here too. So I'm putting dimension, this card has lots of dimensionals. So because the dock is lifted, the boat is lifted, the sun is lifted. And now we're gonna lift this whole panel, but it still should go through the mail just fine. It's not that tall. Let me bring this in. There we go. So you notice all my little binder clips on my little wastebasket here. Those are the in colors that are retiring this year. So all the, like, blueberry bushel is going away, and lovely lipstick and pineapple punch and grapefruit grove, they're all going away. So if you don't have your re-inkers and they're still available, you want to be sure you grab those. Otherwise, if your ink pads ever need re-inking, you won't have a coordinating inker, which would be terrible. All right, now we're gonna grab the pieces here. So here's the front of our card. We're just gonna flip this over and set this in so that all four borders are pretty much equal. And there we go. And we're gonna do the same thing to this one. And that looks pretty good. So there we go. All right, so now we need to finish out the inside of the card. So you notice there is a big panel of balmy blue, and then nothing here is lifted up. And then there's this. So I'm going to show you how to stamp and cut this. So what you want, again, we're going to use Sahara sand, and you just want to make sure it's 5 1/4 inches wide. Then you're going to take this Seascape and, again, early espresso ink. I'm checking my fingers, but I didn't get ink on it that time. So as long as you're 5 1/4 inch wide, you're good. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your little sand dune here, and you're just going to pick a spot, any spot, and you're going to stamp. And then what you want to do is just stamp all the way across with that dune. So again, let me grab some scrap paper here. And you want to finish it out, make this a little hill. There we go. And don't worry if it doesn't completely line up. It's not really a big deal, because as I was cutting these out, I thought, oh, well, this cuts out great. Then you're going to take that funky little die. Whoops, where did I put it? Here it is. So you're going to take this funky little die, you're going to flip it over, and you will have to run that through your die cutting machine several times. So you'll run it through once, run it through twice, run it through 3. You'll have to run it through 3 to 4 times as you line up this beach. But when you do that, you end up with something that looks like this once it's all cut out. And that, it just looks great. So then what you're going to do is you're going to take your little dunes and you're going to add them to your balmy blue cardstock, which is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And that's why you needed your Yeah, 4 by 5. And that's why on your scrap paper, you need it to be 5 1/4 inches wide, so that when you put the dune at the bottom, it will be the exact length that you need it to be. And again, you can use your multi-purpose liquid glue just to add a little line all the way around. Whoops. Now I'm getting glue on my fingers. I must have butter fingers today. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. Perfect. Pick this up carefully, flip it over, and again, you're just going to set this here at the bottom. So this is the inside panel, which really gives a great finished look to your card. Then take your happy birthday, because this is your sentiment, that's on a sun, so you're going to put this on the inside of the card as well. So you want to complete your scene here. Pop that in up here, and then you have plenty of room. Dear husband, blah, 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 blah. Love, wife. Perfect. Or son, or grandpa, or father. It's a great masculine birthday card. So that will go here. And then all we have to do is put it onto the inside panel of the cards that we're working on. So again, I'm just going to take a little, as long as we're using glue here pretty much all day, we'll just continue. So I'm just putting a little glue at the top. I always have people ask me, Kay, why do you only put glue or adhesive at the top? Well, I want to keep it nice and flowing and loose, and you guys know that I'm kind of more into elegant, and I don't like everything looking so tight. So there we go. It's just gorgeous. And then we're going to do the same thing for this card. Set it in, and there it is. Beautiful. And I think it looks really good with this little added detail, don't you guys? With the little extra little detail of the twine. So here's the original card without the twine, which works just fine. But I think it looks cooler, even cooler with the twine. So the twine will be the giveaway that I do on Thursday. I'll make sure that whoever earns, or I shouldn't say earn, whoever wins the card gets the card with the twine, and then that will be the giveaway. I'll give away each of our winners 2 yards of the twine. And so again, to get into the drawing, this is on Facebook Live, just go ahead and share this. I really appreciate it. Or go ahead and comment. I love seeing your comments. I read every one of them. Sometimes I don't always have time to comment back, but know that I am reading every single one and appreciating you so much. So here we go. I hope you guys have had a great Memorial weekend, and that your little short week continues just wonderfully. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.